It is the 200 level, Mike Carpenter in the basement studio on a Saturday evening. And as of now, vibes are good. I understand it's Minnesota, but that's not the half that I expected Illinois to play. I was not feeling this game at all, and I'm sure there's recency bias with that, but it's more than that. It's been a bad trend line for Illinois basketball. And a lot of the mojo and swagger that really was a major part of this team, I'd say, for the first 10 weeks of the season had evaporated. And what we saw in the first half that I think was particularly encouraging was the reemergence of some of the individual pieces that make you feel pretty good about what you saw. Now, of course, today we'll talk about carryover effect and macro, if there is such a thing. But if we really boil this thing down, a good half like that has not been seen on the court for Illinois in quite a while, because you could throw the Ohio State second half, but really that was about a 12-minute stretch where finally they got things going. It was really tenuous at the start of that second half. I don't know. I'd probably have to go back to the first half at Indiana for an out-and-out awesome performance from Illinois. I forget if Penn State was before or after that game. It was before. So let's say the first half against Indiana. But this, even more so than the first half against Michigan State, where it was Will Riley that really helped you to a decent lead before Michigan State closed the gap. This was a very balanced attack from Illinois. And I think equally encouraging about it is the fact that Minnesota started out red hot. It was 9-2, and then it was 16 points for Minnesota by the first media timeout. All knotted up at 16, I believe, when you went to that first media timeout. And then your defense was phenomenal after that. And Minnesota stopped making such a high clip of threes, and things equalized, and your offense kept humming. We are underway in the second half, and right now this Illinois team has really been without an effective Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, who I would imagine it's the illness. He did try to play, but only played a few minutes in that first half. The starting lineup is KJ, Kylan, Tommy, Merez, and Benham Rickhouse. And the opening here, Merez gets fouled. He has not been able. Has he gotten a dunk tonight? I think he did get one. But man, the bigs for Minnesota are making him work for it. He will go to the line to shoot two, though. So as we talk in the second half about this Illini team, I thought that this was a sneaky big game for not just this team, but Brad Underwood. And let me be very careful when I start talking about this. I don't want to get anything misconstrued into, Carp wants Brad Underwood gone. That is not the case. I think the best chance for Illinois to continue to win is continuity with the head coach. But I do think that there needs to be some examination from within as to some of the, let's call it what it is, coaching aspects of it, because he is such a good recruiter. He brings talent that we had not had in a long time, and I don't think that will go away as long as he's here. Jimmy's and Joe is not X's and O's, and I usually will take the former. You just want a little bit more of the latter. I will say, though, coming into this game, this was one where I think equally part of the mental aspect, this team had to get right as far as the X's and O's were concerned and have a game plan coming in, and so far they have done exactly that. So it is a 13-point Illinois lead with 19:20 to go, and a miss there from Minnesota on their first possession, not a really good shot. So things so far have been pretty darn good for Illinois. I mean, it was not a great no call there. Kylan got, okay, come on, good ball movement, be there, KJ. See, the threes are looking good. I will say they are within rhythm of the offense. The ball movement's looking as good as it has since probably early January. So that's the point, right? We do have questions about Brad Underwood as a coach. I think some of those are legitimate questions. We also have to recognize, as we're coming up on Kofi and Terrence Shannon night, I see some people say, well, it was because of those guys. Well, here's the thing. Brad Underwood got those guys in. He deserves credit for that. He upgraded the talent so much that we have 2 Big Ten tournament banners and a Big Ten regular season banner up in the rafters. So I'm not going to use that as a dink against him. A dink? A ding. I'm not going to ding that against Brad Underwood. Poor choice of words. Instead, it's like, okay, you've got maybe the hardest part of the job figured out. How to get dudes in here. I got to think there's another Stephen Gentry or something that can round out that coaching staff, because Quad Jones is probably a one-year stopgap. Step back three from Kasaparas, no good. And it will stay with, no, they're going to call a foul on Illinois with 18:21 to go. This is from Ryan, and I tend to agree with this, Ryan. Seems to me that Brad can devise a great plan A, a decent plan B, but plan C can be pretty rough. I do think the plan A's are often good, Ryan, but it's when they have to pivot. And I think it's fair 8 years into this to say that is a trend line and one that you would like to see fixed. I saw on Twitter, and I can't really, I forget who it was. It was just, Twitter was on fire after the Rutgers game, understandably. Basically comparing him to Coach Cal. And you could do worse than that. I mean, Coach Cal did win a national title with Kentucky. He does have some Final Four banners. He is a very good coach that I think will go in the College Basketball Hall of Fame if he's not there already. But it is fair to question his more in-game strategy abilities because he gets the dudes. He says, here's the plan. Go execute the plan. When that doesn't happen is when Calipari looks not all that great. So if that's your starting line, and I think it's fair, if that's your starting baseline for Brad Underwood, then you're doing okay. Now we have Minnesota ball, second chance opportunity for them, and it's up and good. So it's back to a 10-point Illinois lead. 2 straight baskets there from Minnesota. Or sorry, 3. 6-0 scoring run. KJ with the ball up top. Will wanted that, but he doesn't get it. 17-15 to go in the game. What I will say about Illinois, too, is they answered any punch of Minnesota's with a counter punch in that first half. This is Will, and a terrible pass from Ben. It is tipped, though. And Illinois a little bit out of sorts here in the last couple possessions. Whatever happened to the good old chest pass? Just a good old chest pass. I'm watching Ben on this, and they're saying it got tipped. It was an awful pass anyway, because even if it did get tipped, it was hardly deflected. Yeah, I don't know. Just what this team gets in trouble with sometimes is just getting too cutesy with it. Now, the cameras didn't get back in time to see what the call is. It looks like KJ might go to the line here, which, hey, stop the bleeding, make some free throws. All right. You watch this game and you think, all right, well, you of course got to get this if you want to start feeling good about yourselves again. I think on top of that, as KJ makes the first, you do. Oh, wow. So here's what it was. KJ just tapped it off the Minnesota defender's back. Scottie Pippen, I remember, had that play way back in the day for the Bulls and dunked it. I think in a playoff game. Love Scottie. Well, he's a little bit weird now, but I really loved him then. But I do think that with the 2 home games coming up, I got to be honest, if this game would have went south and there's still 17 minutes left, that I would have started to worry about the tournament chances of this team, which might sound reactive, but in all actuality, if you lose this game, you're 15-9, 7-7 in the Big Ten, with a glut of tough games coming up. Now, the good news is that if you win those games, you are locking yourself into the tournament with room to spare. But it's hard to imagine, with as bad as this team has played at certain points, that they can just turn that light back on. KJ makes a 3 here with 16:30 to go. Can you get that genie back out of the bottle? Because it seemed like it's been in there for the last 3 weeks. Now, so far tonight, KJ has 18, so it seems like his arm, whatever was ailing him, he was just off. That is a little bit less so tonight. Illinois gets a board here on a miss from Minnesota. And that would be absolutely massive. Now, Will Riley is hurt, and Illinois will get a quick break here. I think he just got poked in the eye. Please don't be anything more than that. And last thing you want in this game is anyone to get hurt. He's walking off fine. And, yeah, he seems to be okay. From Jacob, KJ heating up. I mean, Jacob, if there's a takeaway that I'd like to have from this game, apart from a win, is feeling like KJ is back because it's been a rough stretch. Apart from the Indiana game, it has not been a good 3 weeks for KJ. I mean, that was when he came back with the sleeve on his left arm, and you thought, okay, well, as long as he gives you something. Well, he was great that game, but has not been so great since. So Will takes a seat, got poked in the eye there, 16 minutes to go. KJ gets the pick up top from Tommy, nothing yet. 15 on the shot clock. Dre is back in, trying to tough through it, I think, a little bit. He's driving it, and he loses it. So just kind of an unforced turnover and a foul. Which, you know what, go to the break. And Dre probably hurting out there. All right, as we got a break here, Illinois up 13 at the barn. A reminder, the 200 level is brought to you by Hamilton Walkers in downtown Champaign. Steak, seafood, and spirits. Going to be heading out there with some friends here in the next couple weeks. And I will say that out of all the places in Champaign-Urbana, which is full of great restaurants, Hamilton Walkers is definitely my favorite. What I love about Hamilton Walkers, in addition to a scratch kitchen where everything is literally made in-house, so the food is, of course, amazing, it's the service, where you basically get pampered there. It is an old school, I don't want to say supper club. It's a little bit more high scale than that. But the beauty of a Hamilton Walkers is while you are treated in a very high scale manner, you can wear your jeans there. You can wear your Illini gear if you're getting a pregame meal. There's no pretension for a place that totally could have it. And I don't like those kinds of places. That's why I like Hamilton Walkers. It really is a pretty special place, and we're lucky in Champaign to have it. And I feel lucky as a podcast to have them as a sponsor. That is Hamilton Walkers in downtown Champaign. Also got to thank OM Builders LLC. Luke, I'm sure, watching this game. And while he is like me, he can get a little hot under the collar during the games, as a lot of fans can. He is cool, calm, and collected. I've met him in person plenty of times. Cool, calm, and collected, and you kind of want that from a contractor because the work that they do at OM Builders LLC, home additions, indoor, outdoor, he runs a really tight ship with guys that are just expert craftsmen. You can check out a gallery of their work online at ombuildersllc.com, and while you're there, get a free quote. ombuildersllc.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Give them a call at 217-841-4728. And I know it's not feeling like it outside right now, and it won't next week as we have some snow chances. But would you believe it? Soon enough, you will want to get your AC checked. I know that sounds absolutely bananas, but what we do is we get an annual package where they check our AC in the spring and our furnace in the fall. And ever since we started with Dogtown a few years ago, our HVAC system has been top-notch, and I'm sure they have quite a bit to do with it because it's an old HVAC system. That's Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend, 217-841-4728. And finally, State Farm agent Brian Hansen, online at brianismyguy.com for life, auto, home, business renters, you name it. Brian is my guy, and he can be your guy at brianismyguy.com. So I appreciate the sponsors. If you want to support the podcast, support our sponsors. The best way to do it. Got the book as well. Wasn't a great week for sales because people weren't really in the mood, and I can't blame them for that. But you can get it locally at Jane Addams Bookstore and Game Day Spirit, or on Amazon if you're around the globe. From Ryan, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but if they can get things back rolling and looking like their former selves, I wouldn't be too mad to get put on the 2-seed side of the bracket instead of the 1. Ryan, you're talking about a 7-10 possibility, and I don't mind that. I think the better case would probably be a 6, which with all these games you can play yourself back into. You probably aren't all that far from a 6 when you consider the net ranking and the quad 1 victories, despite the slump here. So the body of work is still in Illinois' favor. I think, Ryan, that I was just a little bit worried about if you drop a game like this, where do you go from there? I just didn't think that a loss tonight would be conducive to, you come home and you beat UCLA and Michigan State. I think, on the other hand, a win, and one in which you get your star players looking like stars again, is a possible way to propel yourself into a big week. Tuesday and a Saturday, UCLA, Michigan State at home. But plenty of game left in this. K. Andrew, I'll hit you up here. You got a comment about tendinitis and kind of what KJ's probably going through in just a minute. But second chance opportunity for Minnesota, and Illinois just can't get the loose ball. Frustrating possession there. And now Dawson Garcia will go the line. He's been held in check by Illinois. From K. Andrew, it took me 4 weeks to recover from tendinitis over Christmas, and I play no sports whatsoever. If KJ's finally feeling normal, I'm happy. Well, K. Andrew, this would be about a month from when he sat out, a little bit less than a month maybe, from the Penn State game. And then the USC game was after that. So he missed 2 games about a month ago, and you'd like to think that he can get back to it. Now, Minnesota back within 12, 56-44. Frustrating possession there because of the second chance opportunity. Dawson Garcia trying to get his 9th point of the night, and he misses it. So 1 point on that possession. You'll live with that as Illinois has a chance to extend the lead. And I hope, listen, they haven't been playing great, so how greedy can we get? But there is an opportunity here to step on Minnesota's throat. What Illinois has not done, and we saw this down the stretch against Rutgers when that game was tied. Illinois had opportunities to extend that lead, and they just simply did not do that. This is going to be a travel, and that was a really wasted possession there. Tommy waited way too long, but the problem I have with that offensive possession, in addition to Tommy just wasting about 10 seconds before turning it over. No movement, no cuts, nothing like that. Illinois has been pretty good at that tonight, but not on that possession. All right, 15 minutes here. Benham Rickhouse on Dawson Garcia. We're under 15 now. And Minnesota does have some pep in their step. They got some offense, and they get a drive there, and it's back to a 10-point game. So you're waffling between 8 and 12-point lead, which is not a bad place to be. Lucai Patterson with 15 tonight. Good game for him. But you'd like to get on an extended run and get up closer to the 15-point mark maybe. Will Riley, though, wow. He's on one, just lightly off the glass. Not quite a layup. He was on the outside of the lane and still makes it look easy. So it's back to a 12-point game. Will with 10, 6, and 5. Okay, so Minnesota back on offense. This is from Rickhouse on Garcia, kind of in isolated here on the left side of the. But good job by him, Rickhouse. He got in the passing lane. So Minnesota down to 8 seconds on the shot clock. Here is Lucai Patterson up, no good. Good job by Will keeping him in front of him and forces a contested layup that he cannot make. Kylan with the ball, 13:50 to go. Hey, John, I got a couple of years there. And hi to everybody in the YouTube feed tonight on a Saturday when, there wasn't a lot of juice for this game, in all honesty. And, Illinois does get the ball back. KJ fakes the three, and he gets fouled going in. God dang, he went down hard. Man. He says he's okay. Was there water on the floor? I mean, if you look at the way that he fell, his foot, just a clean foul. Physical move by KJ and just lost his footing. He did not hit his head. So the good news is on the replay, he did not hit his head. What are they going to do? Look at it? Okay. I mean, I didn't see anything flagrant there. Okay, so from John. First time the live stream. I never miss a show after the fact. Keep up the great work. Thanks, John. The fact the team has shown they can be a three-point team or force it down low makes them very versatile and hopefully change things up in March if needed. John, what I've loved about this game in particular is that Illinois has been get to the rim first, and then there have been threes that have been open from that. What I love especially was one play that got Benham Rickhouse wide open, easiest three that he could make, because, and Sean Morris was commentating on this, because Tommy cut so hard at the basket that Dawson Garcia and one of Minnesota's bigs, they kind of got, lost their step because it was such an aggressive move where they felt like they both had to cover it, and that just made it essentially a freebie for Benham Rickhouse. It's not going to be often that easy, but I do think that by attacking, it opens up the three, which if you shoot them in moderation, in rhythm of an offense, it's just different. I think that the biggest gripe I would have with Underwood with this team, we're here on February 8th, and it's not too late, but it's not early. The biggest issue I've had macro with this team is just the continued insistence to shoot the three when eventually, like at Rutgers, there was no reason you shouldn't have had the same exact game plan as you do at Minnesota. In fact, I'd say Minnesota's front court has seemed to be able to D up your guys a little bit better. Rutgers' front court was nothing to write home about, and we just didn't capitalize on that. And then before you know it, you're down 23-6 or whatever, and things get away from you, and you come back, but then you just sort of slide at the end. So I would think, yes, if they were consistent with this, it's something that can win you a tournament game or two. And there is individual talent. I mean, I will be interested to see here, John, as this season concludes in the next regular season concludes in the next month. Are we going to be feeling a lot like 2 years ago where we knew that that Illinois team was not going to make noise in the tournament? Some would say, well, they got Matthew Meyer, they got Aaron Shannon. Teams wouldn't want to face Illinois. And I thought, really? Is that actually true? Because I think that Illinois is so vulnerable right now where any team is going to have success against them. We'll know in our gut if it feels like that. We'll know from what we see in front of us. And if they can just be consistent with, okay, we're going to force the issue down low. We got guys that can drive to the rim and draw fouls. We got big men in Tommy, and I know it's not been Merez's night, but we got big men that are pretty high percentage around the rim. Tommy has actually been better, I feel like, around the rim since coming back from mono because he struggled with that. And if you need to, you can shoot a three, but doesn't need to be your primary mode of offense. It's okay if it's not. And I would like to see that kind of become the norm for this team. Ryan says, it looks like KJ got checked midair, might have taken a shoulder above the neck. From K. Andrew, it's frustrating to be a what took you so long to the approach we saw tonight by Brad, but I just have to let myself be glad it's here now. Well, and then the question, K. Andrew, is does it stick? Because their tendencies can creep back in. And if the tendency for this team was, well, we love to shoot the three, then I could totally see that continuing to be a thing despite what we see tonight. I got to give a shout out to Jake Davis, who it looks like he's coming in. I think he's been fantastic tonight. Active defensively, I think got a block, maybe got his hands on another, and a couple putbacks on rebounds, I think. I like seeing a player develop into a distinct role, and his distinct role is guy off the bench who is steady and you can count on. Now, I'm a little surprised that KJ doesn't get free throws for that, because what did they think KJ was going into the lane to do? But Illinois will inbound it from the baseline to Tommy. Got 20 on the shot clock here. Here's Will Riley from Tommy, a little two-man action up top. Will trying to drive it himself. He kicks it back out to Benham Rickhouse. The three is open. It's good. That right there, the drive opened up a three. It's a 15-point lead. And no, Jake Davis is not in. Not yet. 13:20 to go. As Jacob says, the game is slowing down for Riley. He looks exceptional. I mean, this is 4 games in a row where he has been awesome. And that might stick. I mean, I know he's a freshman and a true freshman at that, but that talent is just undeniable. Dawson Garcia, nice drive to the lane, and Illinois just doesn't clean up the boards. Uncharacteristic, but that's 2 games in a row. And we'll look at the totals here. Illinois has been decent on the boards tonight. Not good at Rutgers, especially not by their standards. But, just a silly second chance opportunity. It makes it a 13-point game after you forced a miss. Will Riley gets a pick here from Tommy. What a drive by Will. He doesn't get the foul call on Garcia, and he misses it a little bit short. I don't mind the no call on that. I think Garcia played good D on that. And a 3-point, pump fake for Minnesota. We got 12:20 to go, and it's going to be Garcia passing up a 3, and an easy 2 for Minnesota. Back to an 11-point game. So Minnesota going to do this. You've been absorbing each punch of theirs with a counterpunch. Can Illinois continue to do that and keep this around the 9, 10, 11-point thing? But no, silly pass there. It's an easy turnover. Dawson Garcia 3 is no good, fortunately, for Illinois. But, dodged a bullet there. Would have made that an 8-point game. Here's KJ. Get some picks from Tommy. High pass from Tommy, or high pass from KJ. Illinois wants the 3, but no. Kylan's driving it instead. And he misses the layup. I have never seen a player that otherwise is pretty good be just unable to finish around the rim. It's almost like it's a Chuck Knobloch got the yips thing, where it's like he gets to the rim and he's got the body to finish, and he's shooting like 60% on layups, it feels like. Maybe a clip better than that, but not great. All right, here's Illinois back on offense. Benham Rickhouse with 10 on the shot clock. He's going to try to booty ball his way down to the block, and he gets fouled. That'll be the 5th on Minnesota. Looks like a media timeout. So it's an 11-point game as we get to the under 12 media. And, just got to come back out and absorb the punch. Keep them at arm's length. Keep them around that double-digit lead. All right. As we got this break here, sometime I got to do a football podcast, because I was thinking, God, after the Rutgers loss, and then the next day Cam Thomas commits, and just what Brad Underwood's doing is really, really exciting. We'll get one of those going in the next week or two. I don't think that the good vibes are going to go anywhere for Illinois football. It's a rare position to be in, where Illinois football actually sort of salvages the day for Illini sports, but that was the case later a few days ago when you really needed it. All right, a couple things with this from Zam. Is that right? Zam Hello, Zam. If we get Elite KJ back with Elite Riley, look out. Also, I always listen to the podcast, but first-time live streamer. Well, hey, Zam, I appreciate that. That changes a lot of things if you have Elite KJ and Elite Will Riley, Zam. I think that I'm still not sold. I think whatever ceiling I thought this team had, I'm kind of done with that until proven otherwise. I would have to see a crazy run here through the rest of February to think, oh, wow, yeah, And I think Duke will be a measuring stick game where you say, okay, is this a team that you hope maybe by matchups and a little bit of luck you get in the second weekend, or can we dream a little bit bigger? But it's just been such a bad 3-week stretch where it's hard to, even with what we're seeing from KJ and Will, think that this team has everything figured out. Now, we see the periodic silly turnovers, and that's kind of, I think, been part of the reason Minnesota's been able to kind of hang despite not shooting particularly well today. Not that it would be fair to say, come on, Illinois, why aren't you up by 30? Well, you're up double digits on the road. You played consistently good throughout. But I do think that ill-timed turnovers, I think that end-of-game situations on the whole have not been great for this team, and they still are having issues. I think Rutgers is a great example of not being able to finish a game. And in fact, actually, the complete inverse of that. You were terrible in the last 6 minutes of that game when it was crunch time. The teams you would play in the tournament are just better than that. Now, they might not have an Ace Bailey or a Dylan Harper, who was special against you, but they're going to be more well-rounded. And I think with Illinois, Will and KJ raise your floor. But the ceiling, to me, the question about that really has to do with the supporting cast and how good you feel about them. Tommy has been very good tonight. Well, offensively, defensively, a few lapses, and that goes for the front court. Ben has been solid, and Kylan has been quiet. Yeah, not a lot from Kylan. And then Dre, Merez, no. This has really been the KJ and Will Riley show. And Tommy. So that's fine. You can work with that. And not everybody's always going to have a good game from 1 through 8 on your roster. But I do think that there's too many games that go by where 3 or 4 players are either non-factors or a net negative. And that's why the ceiling for me for this team has come down considerably. Make the tournament, maybe get a good matchup, try to sneak in the second weekend. I'd be happy as a clam with that. I don't anticipate, obviously, a Big Ten title. That's out of the cards. And then a Big Ten tournament title. I just don't think this team's consistent enough to do that over the course of a weekend. Because you do, even though it's just 3 games. Well, for Illinois, it might be 4, the way they are in the standings. I just haven't seen that enough. So it really comes down to, can you get 2 good games in a row in the tournament? Can you face a 3 seed as a 6 where you feel pretty good about it? Will Riley just is on another level right now. Easy take for him. Clear out. Takes his man. Easy little turn. Layup. 12, 7, and 6. Triple-double alert. I think he can get the 3 rebounds. Can he get the assist? But we got 10:46 to go. I imagine he'll be in most of the game as we go throughout here. So Minnesota back on offense. 10:40 to go. It is back to a 13-point Illinois lead. Dre with another hand check foul. I hope it's not that I hope he's ill, not that, but I hope that his not so good game tonight can be more attributed to illness. This is from Ryan. Kylan's doing a lot of facilitating in this game, which is good to see. Not many negative plays. That's true, Ryan. I think he's played cleaner ball as a facilitator. That is very true. Scoring-wise, not a whole lot, but he has not been, as he has in a few games in the last few weeks, been an overall net negative. Not tonight. 3 fouls on Dre. I don't know why we aren't getting Jake Davis in there. Trey White is back. First tick of the night? Is that right? I don't recall seeing him. And Illinois cannot corral the rebound. And Trey White, why this late then? I mean, we won't get it from a press conference. So this seems to me more than just, oh, well, he was ill or something. And now there's an away the ball foul on Trey. Here's what Illinois' problem has been tonight. They aren't cleaning up the glass, and they're giving Minnesota second and third chances. And you say, K. Andrew, that he looks sick. I don't disagree with that. It's going to be a foul on Trey. Can't get the rebound. Well, if he's sick, then he shouldn't be out there. I mean, Why? Riddle me this. Why is Jake Davis not in there? Did he not have a good first half? There we go. Yeah, geez. Why are we waiting until 10:19 to go? Can you believe I'm saying this? 10:19 to go in the second half to finally see Jake Davis when he gave you a good 5-6 minutes in that first half. He's going to rebound. He can hit a three. He can get offensive rebounds as well. I don't understand why. Okay, Illinois does clean this board, and it's another miss from Minnesota, who's not shooting the ball well. Here's KJ. The drive up and oh my God. Well, him and Will enjoy this now because they will be gone. They're NBA talents. And I know Will, people could say, well, he's not big enough. The NBA doesn't care. They'll get him a strength and conditioning program. They want the potential, and he's got that. Illinois gets another board, another miss from Minnesota, chance to put your foot on their neck. Up 15. Here's Ben Rickhouse to KJ, who's going to drive it. Clear lane, up and in. It is a 17-point lead and a timeout, Minnesota. There we go. A good run from Illinois and plenty of games. So to say they shut the door, I won't go so far as to say that. But inspired ball tonight on the whole for this team when it hasn't been that way. All right. Notice. Unlike the Ohio State game, I thought after that, corner turned, problem solved. All right. Foolish of me, perhaps. That's the fanboy carp kind of creeping in. And I'm not going to do that with this game. No matter if Illinois wins by 25 or 30, we've seen big wins against not-so-great teams. And even though Minnesota's plucky, they still are not good. I feel a little bit bad for Ben Johnson, all things considered. But as we look at Illinois' tournament resume, DeCourcy has them projected as a 6 seed. They still have 6 quad 1 wins and 15th strength of schedule. They have only 1 quad 2 loss. We're lucky that, I think that's USC, unless USC is back in the, hard to say. Well, they're quad 2 now because they aren't quad 3. Can I thank Missouri for a second? Can I say thank you to Dennis Gates in Missouri? They are helping you out immensely. That win looks really good. And they're doing this in a tough SEC. So kudos to him. That they were a team that looked better than I thought down at St. Louis. But even I wasn't convinced after that game that, oh, yeah, Dennis Gates has this thing figured out. But for this season, it feels like he has. All right, so Illinois will be back on defense. They got the upcoming schedule for Illinois here. UCLA, Michigan State at home, then on the road against Wisconsin before playing at Duke. If you go 2-2 in that, I think you're essentially in the tournament. And that's it, right? 2-2. If you go 3-1, you're moving up a seed line with all the quality wins that you would have. All right, so Minnesota back on offense. They've been struggling shooting here in the second half, and really since the first 15 minutes or first 5 minutes of the game. Now that three will go in. Who is this? The guy that keeps making them? Even though we only had 8 on the year. And yes, of course, Femi Odukale with 4 for 5 from 3, despite 8 made on the year before that. Well, if you're an Illinois fan thinking, really, that's understandable, given his stat line. KJ with Dawson Garcia on him. Step back, he's driving it into the lane. Oh, my God. That is unbelievable. Can't call that a layup. It was acrobatic as heck, and he made it look easy. Back to a 16-point Illinois lead. KJ looks like a superstar again, so that's the best news of the night for Illinois. Dawson Garcia, nice turnaround. Almost like a hook shot. 14-point Illinois lead with 8:30 to go. Get to the 8-minute timeout, maintaining this lead. Then we're really counting possessions here. But I do like Illinois continuing to attack the rim with guys that are really good at doing just that. Will Riley, they clear out for him. He's got a step-back two-pointer. Oh, my God. He is something else right now. I got to give Will a lot of credit because I think apart from his immense talent, what's really awesome about him is despite a slump, if we can call it that, I think it's fair, from like December 1st through the 3rd week of January, he never lost his confidence. Or if he did, it was temporary. The confidence that he has on the court belies his appearance. He looks like a guy that could have a deer in headlights thing if he had a bad month, and he didn't allow that to affect him. He's playing his best ball right now. He looks unbelievable. Here's Tommy on the feed from Will. Taking too much time, Tommy. 5 on the shot clock. Up. Wow, that's a great move. off the backboard. Illinois just getting what they want, 73-55. And everything clicking tonight on a night where they needed it. And they needed any win terribly. And now they're getting the style points. Femi Odukale missed that. Unbelievable. Now he's 4 for 6. He actually missed one. Illinois shooting 71% in the second half, according to Jacob. We got 7 minutes to go. Here's Will. He beelines it. He finds Jake Davis open in the corner. That right there is Will Riley creating, finding an open man, and then in rhythm, making the shot. Illinois does have guys that can shoot the three, though this season's averages have suggested not as well as we thought. But tonight has all been about threes in rhythm of the offense. Oh, Illinois tries to get a steal, but Minnesota comes back up with it. Dawson Garcia kicks it out to the corner. The three is up. It is no good. Illinois board, and it will go against Illinois perhaps, but regardless, it is a 21-point Illinois lead under 7 to go. Will Riley step back 18-footer. That was beautiful. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not going to allow myself to go down that, yeah, we're back. But with these 2 games at home coming up, I think we'll tell the tale. And let's be honest about this, too. You know, I think this team also needed a shot of adrenaline. They needed some boost to their overall confidence. Again, I thought Ohio State would have been that, but then we go the next game, and they were garbage. So I'm not going to go with the carryover effect until I see what happens Tuesday. I think it's a very winnable game at home against UCLA. As good as they have been out west, I just think you have an immense advantage getting them to travel, which I would assume they'll travel over here Monday. They just had a game today. They smoked Penn State at home. Penn State looks bad. But this is a great opportunity in this week coming up where, hey, Michigan State today, they took it to Oregon in the second half. They're both good teams. They both have had better seasons overall than you have had because they haven't had that dip like Illinois has had in these 3 weeks. But all about when you play them. If this week coming up would have happened a week or 2 ago, we might have gotten one of them. I just feel like if you can somehow parlay this game and this performance into 2 home wins, then yeah, we can start talking about, oh, okay, we're peaking. Just when it matters the most, we're starting to peak after a slump. I would love to have that conversation. I don't want to have that right now, only because consider the opponent. I know Minnesota has been better, but they're still not good. And the question is, with this team that has had a hard time carrying over momentum, can they finally do that? I hope so. I really do. From K. Andrew. I'll say again, this is KJ's first night in a while not being braced and wrapped. And tendonitis is no freaking joke. All of a sudden, KJ looks like KJ again. Yeah, he does, K. Andrew. From Ryan, KJ kind of looks like he's got a swagger back too. Need to see it again, but he's not taking any flack from Garcia. From Jacob, Illinois 71% in the second half, 7 of 12 from 3 for the game. I mean, just efficiency, guys. I'll take it. I will take it. Trey White got a minute tonight, and as Jacob had said, didn't look great out there, like physically. So you wonder if that's still a thing. Dre and Trey might both be under the weather, though Trey was not listed on the injury report. So there was no questionable thing with him with illness. You wonder if something else is up. It's amazing, too, that we went into the Wisconsin game back in early December, and I remember texting with Trevor and Isaac saying, what is Trey White? On this team, what is Trey White? And then he goes off for 20-some, and he has a really good 5-week stretch. And since then, it's just not been – you haven't noticed him 15-8, and it was the quietest 15.8 performance you could see. But that's not the case anymore, and I hope that – again, this sounds bad. I hope it is, in fact, illness that is keeping him on the bench right now. I'll say, though, that the way Will Riley's playing, concerns about the wing position aren't quite as much anymore. And I was worried because if you think about when Trey started fading, that was when Will was already in his slump. And you thought, my God, what is the 3 position on this team? Also, Credit to Jake Davis. Again, I like Jake Davis out there. I like watching the guy play. Also, you're doing all this in the second half with no Morez. It just goes to show, as you guys have commented here in the YouTube feed, if KJ and Will Riley are right, and then you got Tommy being this efficient offensively, that three, that will play against a lot of teams. All right, here's Will getting loose. He's just a few assists away from a potential triple-double here. But he takes the three instead, and he makes it. Holy crap. I mean, wow, Will. I mean, is there any way he can pay him enough money to stay? I mean, come on. He's going to work his way right back up those draft boards. Not a good job by Ben on Garcia there. Can't complain too much overall because Garcia's not been crazy good tonight. And that's a silly turnover by KJ. So you're up 20 with 5:45 to go. Here's Minnesota and a drive to the lane. No good. And they got the foul on Jake Davis. Yeah, that was the first, from what I can recall, dumb pass from KJ. All right, 3-point field goals. On the season, Illinois makes 9.5 per game with 31 attempts. Tonight, 8 for 13. Just lower the totals. I mean, primary should be a layup. This team gets plenty of layups. And you make, what is it? There was someone that had figured out the points per possession, or points per 2-point field goals and points per 3-point field goals attempted. And Illinois was, of course, much more efficient with 2-point field goals. So it's just, I don't know, simple arithmetic. I'm not an accountant like the rest of my family, but it seems pretty clear-cut to me. From Ryan, that's KJ's first turnover tonight. Love to see that. Yes. Well, not that particular player. I didn't love to see that, Ryan, but overall, that is immense improvement. Here's Will driving to the lane, up and in. Oh, my God. I mean, special. 19, 7, and 7. Can we do some stat padding? Will? Guy just likes to shoot, though, and I want him to keep shooting. And a block there from KJ, and Illinois gets the board. Will bring it across. He finds KJ. All right, Will looking for some action here. Again, he wants it. He's going to drive and kick it to somebody, isn't he? No, he shoots the three. Unbelievable. The bench is dumbfounded. This is some heater that he's on. Illinois gets a turn. Oh, that's not a foul. Regardless. He wants it, man. Will wants it. And, hey, heat check, no problem. Tongue out, feeling good, having a good time. Man, kid, we'll take it. That's a 5-star. That is a 5-star. 4:49 to go. Minnesota at the line. 84-61 Illinois. Everything clicking. Free throw, no good. Ball don't lie. That wasn't a foul in the first place. And Will bring it across. And it looks like he will give it to KJ. Work his way open again. Will wants a shot, man. He wants it. But will he then find somebody wide open instead? Because he could. The three. No good. Ben, almost timed his rebound correctly. That was the heat check that did not go in for Will. And here comes Minnesota. Not on a break. Illinois did a good job recovering defensively. And the miss from Garcia. Not a great night for him. 4:15 to go. All right, Will, let's get an assist, baby. I think the triple-double, probably not quite enough time to get that done tonight. Here's Will. Getting the pick from Ben. He finds Ben on the easy little pass. And no good, but Tommy gets the layup. Wish there could be the double assist thing there like they do in hockey sometimes, don't they? Where if you're the second guy from the goal and you help set it up, you get credit. Won't get that for Will, but nice job from Ben finding Tommy, and Tommy getting his own putback. All right. Here's Minnesota on offense. Adukale kicks it out to the corner. Three is not even close, and Will Riley gets a board. That's 8 boards. Can Will get some assists? He tried to last time. Jake and Ben need to be at the ready because I think they can get an easy pass from Will. Here's Tommy. Drives in the lane, up, and good. Illinois is just unstoppable this half. Jacob says this makes up for the football loss to Minnesota. I don't know about that, Jacob. Though I got to be honest, despite the, you would have been in the playoff without it. Maybe. But that loss to Minnesota didn't even bother me so much at the time. It was just you were tired. You were not at 100%. Minnesota was your equal in a lot of ways, and they beat you. So that loss, Jacob, was a good old-fashioned ho-hum loss. Not devastating at the time to me and not even now. And the Citrus Bowl was a lot of fun. But whether this makes up for anything or not, encouraging performance from Illinois, top to bottom. 2:30 to go in the game. Here's Will. He's going to drive it. Will he find anybody? No. He's just going to take it himself, and he draws the foul. And, oh, my God. And one. Unbelievable performance from O'Reilly. Well, help me out, chat thread. I mean, it's got to be, KJ was great, of course. But it's got to be a Will Riley title, right? I've already done Will Riley, like O'Reilly Auto Parts commercial, but you guys got to help me out. Will Riley podcast titles. Got to do it. Only done it once so far. All right, well, we're going to come back and finish up the last 2 minutes of this game. Hit up the sponsors real quick before we do that. Of course, Hamilton Walkers in downtown Champaign, Steak, Seafood, and Spirits. Also got to thank State Farm agent Brian Hansen online at brianismyguy.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Give them a call at 217-841-4728. And finally, Owen Builders, LLC, online at owenbuildersllc.com. Do me a favor, if you want to support the podcast, please support our sponsors. And I did get a new drum set. It's in the back there, and I don't know if me moving enough will help you guys see that. I had a great chat from someone who I need to respond to in the last podcast who asked, who's my favorite drummer? And I'll just say that on the air right now. It's John Bonham. I mean, that's why the Led Zeppelin flag is over there. It's John Bonham, the greatest drummer of all time. So Thursday night, I went to go see this Led Zeppelin IMAX movie, which was about a documentary about their forming in the first couple years. And it just reaffirmed everything that I think about John Bonham, the best ever to do it. Eric says Will's gone after this year. Yep. Will is gone after this year, no doubt. As he should be. I mean, you're seeing it right now. That's a dude. He will be a lottery pick, or at least a first-round pick. I mean, this isn't a question, is he pick 35 or 40? Should he come back? Should he not? No. He's a first-round pick already. Even when he was in his slump, most draft boards still had him in the first round. So he's gone, for sure. And if you can somehow ride this wave from him to a little bit of postseason success, then, hey, mission accomplished. And a good sell for the program to say we put these two guys in the league. Now, the question for Brad Underwood this offseason will be, do you go young again? Because we went young. Well, you're European, but still young. I don't buy the young thing quite as much as 2 years ago when he had 5 freshmen and three of them were getting significant minutes, or 4. But you are curious if there will be a different approach to his roster building in the offseason. Can you get a proven junior or senior that's also got NBA caliber talent? I mean, that's the tricky thing. They're mining the talent in Europe, and I don't mind that at all. I think you should continue to get that because we saw the impact that KJ and Tommy can have. To me, though, what really has hampered this team to this point, it hasn't been KJ. It hasn't been Tommy. It hasn't been Will Riley. It's been the fact that some of the supporting cast, and I know Ben Rickhouse has had a solid game tonight, but that you got a guy like him thinking that he was going to be just as much of a key cog as any of those guys, and that hasn't happened. Trey White, too inconsistent. So it's really the 4 through 8 on this roster now, assuming, and even Kylan Boswell, who I like Kylan, but you're starting to see why Arizona fans, they could go a little crazy with him sometimes. So let's call him your 4 just because he is still rather consistent, but he has these moments where you're like, wow, Kylan, what are you doing? But that's really it. I mean, go and keep getting the elite talent. Brad Underwood's going to do that. That's why even with my most frustrated moments with him, it's not fire Brad Underwood. He's proven what he can do in terms of bringing talent in, and that is the first and I think most difficult step to running a program. But let's tweak. Let's see what approach he takes in the offseason to tweak the staff, to tweak their approach, and really to identify when it comes to roster building a better middle core of that 1 through 8. Okay. Here is Illinois in offense. They're up 25 points. Will with the ball. Mraz is back in there. Kerry Booth getting some tick. Here's Will. And he shoots it, and he makes it. It is just unbelievable. Now, I love what I'm seeing from Will, but I also think that, hey, guys, we can put more of the bench guys in. You are up 27 with 1:45 to go, and KJ and Will are playing. KJ is just insistent on, I want a steal. I want that steal, damn it. And he gets the foul. Brad, let's get these guys out of there. They've had a great night. Let them come out and rest. I mean, yeah, Will just on one. Unbelievable. Yes, AJ Red time, Jacob. AJ Red, Ashton Kutcher's cousin. Get him in there. What are we doing? All right. Not the game I expected. Not the game I expected. I mean, keep in mind, after the Penn State blowout, you lost to USC. Will Riley taking a seat. What a game for him. After the Indiana blowout, you lost a tough one at Michigan State. There's no guarantee of a carryover here. Would like to think this is the get-right game, but, you know, previous dominating efforts have not resulted in a big win streak after. So this is a great first step for a team that so badly needed any win, and then they got one with some style points to boot. But you will need to win. For me to be fully back on board, you got to win these 2 games coming up. We see the raw talent. You see what this team can do. If they truly do adopt the attack first, shoot open threes within the flow of the offense, if they truly do that, then you know what? They should win these 2 games. They got the Joes to do it. They got the Jimmies and Joes to beat UCLA and to beat Michigan State. If they were to lose, it's because, let's be real, they are reverting back to the shooting 33s when they don't need to. So take care of business. And what you might be thinking, well, wait a second. Those 2 teams are much higher in the Big Ten standings than you. Take care of business. Well, Vegas is not going to favor UCLA, and Vegas is not going to favor Michigan State. You will be home favorites, albeit by, a few points maybe. You will be home favorites in each of those. So get it done. Win the damn things. All right. 1 minute to go. It is a 95-71 lead for Illinois. A.J. Red bringing it across. Illinois just kind of dribbling things out here. Probably not going to hit 100, but 95 points. And why? Because they attacked. Because they attacked. I think this is the Kutcher kid. I forget. 3 is no good. Kerry Booth jumps a little too early on that board. And see that another. We talk about the depth on this team, not what you hoped it would be. Again, I think some missed evaluations from Underwood where he'll have to kind of evaluate that this offseason. Illinois is going to dribble this out, 95-74, a 21-point win on the road at the barn with the Minnesota team that had actually won a decent amount of games in the last month. Did not think this would be easy. I didn't even think Illinois would win. I was worried that there was going to be a carryover effect from Rutgers, but no. The question is now, can there be a positive carryover effect as we move on to 2 massive home games where if you win those, not only are you, yes, in the tournament, but you can start talking about even bumping up a seed line. And I think this team, with all the quad 1 opportunities coming up, you win 2 of the next 4, UCLA, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Duke, you're still in a better position, like 2-2. But let's be real, those 2 home games are probably going to be the easiest of the 4. All right, hey, unexpectedly fun night. A good bounce back for Illinois. Good game plan coming in from Brad Underwood. Again, he can devise a good macro, as you guys had mentioned earlier. Plan A often is pretty good. This team executed that plan A, but it seems to me like the most obvious way to go for him and this team, attack, attack, attack. And if they can continue doing that, and with the way Will Riley's playing and the way that KJ, without a brace, looked like himself tonight, then there is reason for optimism. Now let's actually see it on the court. YouTube feed, thanks for tuning in on a Saturday. You had plenty of other things you could do. You could have went out and enjoyed a evening on the town, but you said, you know what, I'm going to watch Carp bloviate in the basement. So that's always appreciated. We will be back Tuesday. I don't believe I'm going to the game, so we should be down here for the second half around 8 o'clock. Tip-off is at 7. Appreciate it again to our sponsors, Hamilton Walkers, State Farm agent Brian Hansen, Owen Builders LLC, and Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Thanks, of course, to Champagne Showers Podcast Network, and appreciate you, the listener, and for those viewing on YouTube. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday. It is the 200 level.